Hey guys, Robb Roderick, National Tile Contractors Association. We got a very important segment for you today. We're talking about shower drains, waterproofing, and their connections. First thing I want to say is, in some parts of the country, different municipalities will not allow a tile contractor to do this type of work. But it's still important for you to know if it's going to function and work correctly. Large parts of the country, like where I live, many times the tile contractor is installing the waterproofing and attaching it to the drain. So stay tuned, we got a lot of good information for you today. So we've got our three-component drain. Again, we've got our strainer portion that screws in. We've got our clamping ring, which locks into the 4 bolts that are on the bottom flange, which actually hooks into the sewer. Now we've got our liner material. Now, this liner material, this is just a small piece. This is going to cover the whole shower. It's going to come up the walls. Again, we need it to be 3 inches above finished curb height all the way around without any penetrations. But I'm going to show you how we basically connect the liner. This liner is going to rest on this bottom flange, and this clamping ring is going to go on top of it. So I basically, once I get everything in place, I can find those 4 bolts that are on the bottom flange of this liner and simply make an incision where I can push that bolt head through. Okay, so now I've got the 4 bolts through. Now I need to actually create a place for the water to escape, and I can use my clamping ring as a guide. I can simply just turn this upside down, line it up with these bolts, and use it to cut out a pathway inside of here for the water to escape. So once I get my bolts cut in, I can take this clamping ring and I can just simply turn this clamping ring just like this, where I've locked it in now, and tighten down these bolts. Now, underneath this flange, underneath the membrane where it meets this bottom flange, I need to put a sealant. A lot of manufacturers will provide a sealant. The reason I want that is actually water can escape between this bottom flange and this liner if I don't have that sealant, especially if we have a shower that gets clogged over time. So we want to make sure water can't escape there. Now, this has to be the lowest point in the floor. The rest of this liner needs to be sloped 1/4 of an inch per foot on the horizontal surfaces of the floor. That way, when the water works its way through the grout, through the mud bed, hits the liner, it's going to run down, and it's going to go through the weep holes. Now, the weep holes are these tiny little holes that you can see right here on each side of the bolts. Those are the pathways for water to come in. So everything's going to go through the tile work, hit this liner, run downhill, and go through those weep holes. Well, they can get clogged over time, and our handbook talks about ways to prevent them from getting clogged with hard water or soaps or things like that. One of them is to use pea gravel. So, you know, when we put our drain in and we're getting ready to float our mud, we could put pea gravel around those weep holes, and that's going to leave open pathways for water to get in. Also, crushed tile is something that's been used for years. Some guys use spacers. This is actually a device that's made to protect the weep holes. It's a weep hole protector. We can put that on top of this clamping ring and then screw our strainer on top of it, then put our mud bed on top of it, and that's what that's going to do, is it's going to leave these pathways open and make sure that those weep holes don't get clogged. So there's a variety of different materials that can be used with these clamping ring drains. They've got PVC, CPV, plastics, vinyls. I've got several different manufacturers. They all could work with this drain. All would work with this drain. Also, you know, they used to use lead. In some places, they still use hot mop, which is a combination of you know, asphalt and hot tar that's used, but it all uses the same drain and the same connection in the same way. You can also use these clamping ring drains with liquid applied membranes. Oftentimes, the manufacturer of the liquid applied membrane will require some type of fabric similar to this, and again, that fabric will go over the bottom flange along with the liquid membrane, more than likely being underneath and on top of this fabric. And then after that dries, we can put our clamping ring, we can put in our strainer, put in our weep protection, and then float our mud. But as always, when we're doing waterproofing, it needs to slope. We need 1/4 inch per foot. If we put in a flat liner, what's going to happen? The water's going to work its way through the grout, through the mud bed, hit the liner. It's going to stay there, and we're going to have a wet, saturated mud bed. So we want to make sure that we get that water out of the system. The waterproofing is sloped. There's pre-slope underneath that. Always want to make sure that that liner comes at least 3 inches above finished curb height, and we don't want any nails or screws penetrating that liner below that level.